Subscribe for Reddit's controversial opinions. Babies should be banned from the cinema. Babies under the age of 1, maybe even 2, should be outright banned from movie theaters. I mean, why would you even take them in the first place? I've just been to see a PG-13 film and a group walked in with 5 babies, all ages between around 3 months to maybe a year. There was an audible groan from the rest of the crowd pretty much as soon as they walked in through the door. Why do the staff even let them take them in? Edit. To all the people saying this is a popular opinion, it appears you may be right judging by how much this blew up, but there are still so many people who still bring babies to the cinema. Edit 2. A lot of people talking about children at cinemas. This I personally don't have a problem with. Even 3 and 4-year-olds, if they can comprehend what's going on, then fine. If they cause a disturbance, it's up to the parents to sort them out or the stewards to throw them out. But when it's a literal baby, there is no reason for them to be at any film in a cinema. They have no comprehension of what's going on. It's not their fault. It's loud and can cause damage to their ears. They almost guaranteed to cause a disturbance, and all these people saying, well, I agree, but have taken my baby to it because they are so well behaved. You're still damaging a baby's hearing just so you can go and see a fucking film. They can't understand what's happening anyway. The noise is too loud for me, and probably way too loud for a baby. It's rude to bring babies to a place where you have to be able to listen, especially if it's something you pay for. Either get a babysitter or wait until they're a little older. I've demanded a refund because of this. We had a showing of Endgame ruined because a group of parents had to watch it release weekend and couldn't leave the kids at home. It's the only time I've ever channeled my male equivalent to Karen, but it really fucking ruined the movie. In Australia they have screenings where you can take babies. It is so horrible in there. Just saying. Years ago I lived near Portland, or a small expensive restaurant there banned kids. I forget the exact age range. Local news was trying to make him out to be a bad guy when he was interviewed about it. He just kept reiterating that expensive restraints are but for kids. At best, they sit still and be bored. At worst, they ruin the atmosphere, something people are specifically paying for. He said he was originally going to have his slowest night became Kids' Day and welcome them during that time, but he didn't have a slow day to give up anymore. He was able to go higher class, without raising prices, something many people really enjoyed. True. But a really annoying cinema experience I had was when I was watching a horror movie, Annabelle, and there was like a bunch of people behind me, prob in their early 20s, and they were taking their phones out and flashing it, and they were laughing about it, and when a not so scary scene came up, they screamed really loudly just to annoy the others. They also talked really loud. It was so immature and dumb. Like seriously, I've been very excited to watch the movie, but they ruined the whole thing. Then a girl next to me got up and reported them, and they got threatened by the staff that if they do it again they'd be kicked out. LMAO. Just start charging for the kids to enter. Yes, saw A Quiet Place, and wouldn't you believe that in a movie that is mostly silent someone brought in a fussy baby who ruined the experience. Ugh. Yes, this so much. My first screening on Endgame was soured by a baby who started crying every time the action picked up. Annoying as hell. As far as I'm concerned, if you can't afford a babysitter, you can't afford to go to the cinema. Any kid who can't sit still and be quiet for the duration of the movie should be escorted out of cinema immediately, regardless of age. I have nothing against well-behaved children who don't ruin the experience for others, but also you're right that they will remember none of it, so there's no point for them to be there. Genuine question: if a film has an age rating, is that not legally binding for the cinema? I know that I can't legally take my baby into an 18+ movie here, for example. I would pay extra to watch a movie where they had an usher posted at both sides, and if anyone starts making unnecessary noise they get kicked out. No argument, no second chances. The last movie I saw in the theater was Midsommar. Only 10 people were there and there was still so much talking and noise. I'm not comfortable paying money to get irritated. I can't pay attention to a movie anymore. Babies should be banned from insert public location equals popular opinion. I went to see 1917 yesterday and a woman showed up with her baby. At least 15 people started booing her as she went to her seat. She eventually left LOL. I don't know what country you're from, USA, but in France any children under 2-year-old are not allowed in cinemas because the super loud noises may be dangerous for them. Can we make it one of the rules that's shown before the movie too? No loud crying? I'd also add no leaning too far back because the seats at my local theater are a bit loose and my kneecaps have been recently destroyed due to irresponsible kids trying to suddenly force the seat as far back as it goes onto my legs. Babies' ears are extremely sensitive. Bringing them into a loud theater can cause permanent hearing problems, especially if you're bringing them into an action movie. Amateur opinion. BABIES should be banned. All it would take is people getting up during the movie and complaining, demanding replacement tickets, and then leaving bad feedback online/angry emails to corporate. Eventually, if enough people do this, they'll eventually institute some kind of child ban. I don't think this is unpopular. The main reason I don't go to movies that much anymore is because there is always someone talking. I am going to be seeing 1917 in the evening and I swear to everything good and holy if there is a baby at a war film, hands will be thrown. Popular opinion. As a parent with a 3 and 1-year-old, I wholeheartedly agree. The only times my husband and I have seen a movie since our oldest was born, was when we had a babysitter. It's not an appropriate place to take babies or toddlers. It's not good for them and it's rude and inconsiderate to other moviegoers. I would say it is unsafe for someone to bring a child into a movie theater at that age. The sound from the sound system is definitely too loud for them. They should just start collecting everyone's phones and taping their mouths shut. I don't get it, why pay money to watch a movie, and not watch it at all? In Malaysia we have theaters for families, but some assholes still decide to bring literal babies for movies that are clearly not for kids and include flashing and loud noises. And they cry and the parents do nothing about it, and 2-year-olds kicking others' seats. God, I wish I could sue the parents. Every time I think the sub has found the most popular opinion anywhere, something like this comes along to show me what a real incredibly popular opinion looks like. Downvote, because even though I agree with you, it's an overwhelmingly popular and logical opinion. Babies should be banned from everywhere. Little noise smelly brats. As far as I'm aware, you give up certain rights when you have a kid. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. So, stay and raise the bundle of joy you brought into the world. Leave the cinema for people who can watch the film, understand it, and not scream and cry. You have a TV at home. Take your baby to watch that. Totally agree. My parents told me I watched King Kong, the old one, and I have no memory of it. Don't bring your kids to theaters. There's an old theater in my town that got closed in the 80s, but I got to go on a tour recently and saw they had a baby room in the back on both sides of the projector room with a pretty thick glass so they won't bother anyone. Apparently this exists in a few theaters, but surprised this isn't standard in at least the main rooms in big theater chains. IMO, people that are taking babies to the movie theater are generally parents that are so exhausted and stressed out that they've stopped giving a fuck and have decided they could care less about anyone else. They're getting a night out no matter what. Raise the age up to 6 and include restaurants as well and we have a deal. I totally agree, but, I mean, I hate kids. The Odeon cinema chain in the UK have special early screenings for mothers and young kids, which are cheaper, have extra lighting, and lower volume, in what I assume to be an effort to reduce sprogs in the profitable screenings. Great idea. Who would take a baby into a movie theater? Someone brought their 2-year-old to Joker. Do people actually disagree with this? Yup. I've got a 1-year-old. I've told my wife numerous times he's not going to a movie until his 5th birthday. At the earliest. If she wants to take him she can, but I'm not going. Now, what they should do is have special toddler screenings for anyone who wants to do it. Only parents and children. Although that sounds like a nightmare. They are, if you aren't going to cheap cinema. They can't even understand the movie SMH. How is this an unpopular opinion? Literally everyone agrees. There should be a separate viewing/cinema room for people with babies, then they can all congregate together. I think 8 is around the time their attention span is long enough for them to pay attention, and to also not cry and shit. I actually think this is an unpopular because so many parents are entitled and think the world should revolve around them purely for having children, demanding free stuff, letting their kids go in stores and wrecking things and not stopping them. I remember going to a restaurant and there was a baby literally screaming the entire time. It wasn't a 5-star fancy restaurant, but it still sucked because my family rarely goes to outings like that and we couldn't enjoy any of it. If you want to watch a movie but you have a baby, you have 2 options. 1. Get a babysitter. 2. Watch the movie at home on Netflix or something like that. I think if you can be thrown out of a movie theater for having your phone go off in the middle of the movie, you should also be thrown out for bringing a baby, because unlike a phone there's no way to keep a baby from making ungodly noises. Here's a hilarious story. There's a theater in my city that has a program called Parents' Day at the Movies. It is designed as a way for parents to get out of the house with newborns. My wife was so stoked. They publicized brighter lighting, lower sound, cribs in the theater, and the ability to move around freely and feed the baby. A good way to keep a baby satisfied is to walk them around and feed them. It's like being in the womb. We buy our tickets and head out gleefully for our first movie or date since the baby was born. We love cinema and attended double features with regularity before the babe. We get there and it is a bit odd. First, the ticket seller acts strange when we say we are here for Parents' Day out. He works it out, saying oh yeah he remembers, and gives us our tickets. When we get in the theater there are no cribs and the lighting and sound are normal. We think, okay well I'm sure they will change it before the show starts. We notice that normal couples and other regular moviegoers are coming in. We comment how weird it is for people to come to a show knowing there will be babies all over the place. An elderly couple sits down behind us. We hear the woman say to her husband, why would anyone bring a baby to a movie? Like a gunslinger, and much to my surprise, my wife whips out a flyer from her purse, turns instantly and says this is the Parents' Day Out showing, and sticks the flyer in the woman's face. In addition, my wife starts bawling immediately. The woman is mortified, saying she didn't know and consoling my wife. The tears stop, my wife hands me the baby and storms out. Of course I am like oh shit. She was mumbling about the manager as she left. 5 minutes later, the movie stops. Gulp. All the patrons are looking around wondering what is up. In walks my wife with the manager. He nervously addresses the crowd as the lights go up. He explains that it is a Parents' Day Out showing and it was publicized and he is sorry to all the parents. Ushers start rolling in cribs. The manager walks out and the picture starts up. My wife sits down beside me and I realized for the first time that she is in fact a mom. I have never been more proud. But yeah, other than that scenario, people who bring babies to movies are morons. Especially the time I saw someone bring a 3-year-old to Bad Santa. Edit. After that slow pan down the bar, with the greatest cursing dialogue in film in the background, right as the camera stops on Billy Bob in the Santa suit, I hear this little girl go Santa Claus. The parents are up and out in an instant. It was rates our people. Think. I bet that kid is still terrified of Santa.